Chicago, 2011. A cop is murdered. Police and prosecutors swear they have the trigger man. He swears he didn't do it. How far will each side go to prove they're right?
Like it's just one bombshell after another, where you're like, what?
The story of a PlayStation, a brain-eating amoeba, and the relentless pursuit of justice. Off Duty, out now. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
This message comes from Jackson. Taxes aren't something you can only think about once a year. With investments, planning for tax day is year-round. Fortunately, Jackson offers tax-efficient products. Visit jackson.com for more information on how our products can make your tax bill a little bit less painful. Jackson is short for Jackson Financial Incorporated, Jackson National Life Insurance Company, Lansing, Michigan, and Jackson National Life Insurance Company of New York, Purchase, New York.
Howdy, howdy, ho, and welcome to Fantasy Fan Fellas. I'm Hayden, producer of the Fantasy Fangirls podcast and your resident lover of all things Sanderson.
And I'm Steven, your bookish internet goofball, but you can call me the Smash Daddy.
And we are currently deep diving Brandon Sanderson's fantasy epic, Mistborn. But here's the catch. Steven here has not read Mistborn before.
That's right, hey. So each week, you'll get my unfiltered, raw reactions to every single chapter.
And along the way, we'll do character deep dives, magic explainers, and Steven will even try to guess what's next. Spoiler alert, he'll be wrong.
Newsflash, I'm never wrong. Episodes come out every Wednesday, and you can find Fantasy Fan Fellas wherever you get your podcasts.
Hello and welcome back to the Psych Legal Pop Podcast. This is a podcast where we talk about popular culture through the lens of an attorney and a therapist. I'm Tess Brigham, I'm the therapist.
And I'm Brooke Brigham, I'm the attorney.
And we are back today with Sister Wives, Season 19, Episode 26. This is One-on-One, Part 1. And yes, I'm not going to make it. I'm going to tell you this right now. I'm not going to make it with Kody. I'm not going to make it.
Wow.
Really not.
He came in hot.
Oh, yeah.
He came in hot. And this was filmed in October of 2024. So this is after Garrison's death and his memorial and the funeral and everything. And you'd think Kody would have softened a little bit. No. He's crazy, just going off on... he was so manic.
Yeah.
In this episode.
It is really frightening because anybody that I've ever known in my life, we've talked about this, you and I have both lost people. It changes you. It changes how you respond to things. It just does. And it just shows you that Kody is unwilling or unable to grow or to change or to think of anything. And one of the things that he talked about, which I have a lot of issues with, is one of the things he's talking about in the beginning where he's talking about how, Suki asks him a question about, did you really love the wives? And he sort of explains it away saying, well, when you're in a heated moment and you're a passionate moment, you just say things, you just say things. And it's a little bit like, no, a kid might, but you're an adult. You're an adult. You just say things. Children. Before the words come out of your mouth. I mean, listen, we all know you were hurt and confused and all of those things, but your MO was to go and attack them and make them seem like it's not me, it's them. And every last piece of this, the only thing that he can concede is we all failed. Yeah, and but it's a little bit of like, that's the best that we're going to get.
But at one point he was saying, well, I'm trying to be accountable and none of them are being accountable. And Suki stops him and says, well, wait a minute. I think they are trying to be accountable by, just saying that things didn't work out or whatever. And he's like, no. And yeah, he is still coming from this place that he tried the hardest. He did the most. And it wasn't good enough for anybody else, and it's everybody else's fault. Mm-hmm. He did not take accountability for anything in this episode that I could see.
Yeah. Well, what would be the harm, Kody, in taking ownership of? The minute Robyn came into the family, I fell in love with her. It was deeper. I was pulling away from the other women. I felt guilty. I went in circles.
I tried.
I would go back, but my heart wasn't in it. He is unwilling. This is the part that drives me crazy, is you claim that you have this very, very special relationship with Robyn, but this special relationship with Robyn didn't at all create a different dynamic with these other women. And you cannot say that across the board. People were like thermostats, you add someone new into the mix. Everyone has to adjust. That's how it is in a family. That's how it is in a company. That's how it is everywhere. Everyone kind of moves and adjusts. And so even if you didn't fall in love with Robyn, it was going to change things. And that's the part that drives me crazy, is he sees himself and Robyn as these victims. Like, everybody hates us because we fell in love. And it's like, you really don't get what anyone's saying at all, because that's not at all what anyone's ever said. All.
And that whole thing about how he tried to get the OG3 to live up to, the Robyn standards.
Yes,
right?
yes.
And again, like, because they couldn't, that's their fault. And he tried, He said, well, if you can just be like Robyn. And they're all like, we don't want to be like Robyn. Mm-hmm. We're not Robyn. And that's not, before Robyn came along, you didn't tell, Meri and Christine, you need to be more like Janelle.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's just, he's just twisting himself like a pretzel to try to blame everybody, take no accountability, all of it, all the stuff. He is such he's the definition of projection. He just projects everything that he does, feels, says onto everybody else. And it's just so blatant. You're just looking at him like, whoa.
And he doesn't like Janelle using the word ego, but it's like, you are a walking id. You are just walking around here with your ego hanging around your neck, because everything you do is in service of that ego and preserving it and looking good and whatever that is.
Yeah. He's admitted that, he got his energy from the adoration of his wives, his children. He needed that.
Yeah.
He didn't feel adequate enough himself. It's like, as soon as his wives stopped telling his kids, oh, your dad's awesome, and the kids stopped telling him, oh, dad, you're awesome, it just like, it all fell apart. Like, he has nothing left.
And wait a minute, these relationships, wait a second. What's going on? The wives are turning my children against me. What's going on? My kids are being ungrateful, right? Like, that's his interpretation. The moment everybody like holds him accountable or says or pushes back in some way, shape, or form of, I'm not happy with this, or I don't like this, that's the moment where, right, everyone becomes this villain.
Yeah.
All right. Should we just head in?
I have to say too, that I thought that Suki was on her game.
She was. Suki was very good.
She was much more aggressive. I mean, Kody just came in so argumentative and aggressive. And I think she must have been prepared for this, because she came right back at him and she really challenged him, and she did not tiptoe around stuff. And I thought she did a good job. Yeah,
I thought she did too. And I think, people always want to blame these people that interview. And it's a little bit like, you can't get honesty and truthfulness and realness from a narcissist. Like, Suki is doing the best that she can with what she has. And he keeps interrupting. I mean, this is what was driving me crazy. The interrupting and the yelling and God, I was like, I don't think I can. This is exhausting. It was an exhausting episode to watch, I have to say. And it was so like boom, 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 boom. I mean, it was just, it was a lot. But all right. Yeah. So we start with this, them getting ready to go to, they're doing it in Sedona at some, big mansion resort, something. I don't know what it is. So Kody and Robyn, before they leave, they're sort of in their driveway talking, and I'm not really paying a lot of attention to this because it's so boring. And
then Kody talks about the first time, because Robyn thinks he's not looking forward to doing this. She'd rather have a root canal or whatever.
Yes.
And he's reminiscing about the very first time they had a tell-all. They did Robyn's makeup.
Yes.
And she looked so good. And he basically licks the air.
Yes.
And says she was delicious looking.
Yes. And I was like, I audibly gasped at that horror. I mean, but that's, again, we're back to the same thing. Like, you are, so now you can express your feelings to Robyn. And so this is what it is. This is what it is.
This is what you've been, it's been pent up, Tess. It has been pent up.
Needed to come out.
The tongue had to come out, do a licking motion and go.
I just want to say that's what my pug does, Jabba, when she's constantly licking the air. So, you know. But one thing really quickly, we see from the scenes for next week, Kody keeps talking about like, well, we're not talking about our sex lives and we're not talking about this and we're not talking about that. And it's a little bit like, so Kody and Robyn, you can say yum yum at this memorial and you can say delicious and go blah, 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 like tongue, you know.
Yeah. I mean, he might as well have put up his two fingers on the side of his mouth. I mean, it was
gross. Oh, God.
Sorry.
I don't want to.
I'm sorry. But that's what it looked like he was trying to do. And then he thought better of it and thought, no, I can't do the full thing. So I'll just do the tongue. I mean, it
was so gross. It was so gross. God, I felt violated. I don't know. I felt something.
And Robyn was
awful.
Smiling.
Yes.
She was laughing. She loved it.
Yes. You know.
Yeah, Kody. You know, like that makeup. I guess that's when she realized, like, I just got to wear a lot of makeup for this guy.
Well, I have to say, she did look really good. And again, where is she? Where is that person? Because who we see today isn't that person. Like, her face and everything's changed. I mean,
you know, but she's aging.
I know people
all
aged.
You know?
We all age, but I just feel like the structure of her face, it just feels so different.
Well, she has
the eyebrows.
She has a different energy. Her energy in that photo with the makeup or whatever, she had a light, airy, bubbly energy.
Mm-hmm.
Her energy is not like that anymore.
Yeah.
It's, you know, or at least that's the energy she puts out on the show. Maybe in private, the two of them together, maybe she's super lighthearted. I don't know. Who knows?
Yeah. All right. Well, and then we see Christine. She's getting ready with David. And, she just talks about how, you know, she just hates how much of her life was wrapped around Kody. All the focus was on Kody. It was all about them and him. And she's like, David, you're just here for me. You're here for me. Because David's packing the bags, getting ready.
Yeah, he's like, you're going to wear your pink suit. And but she also said that it feels kind of weird because she left him 4 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like he is not a part of her life. So it feels to her kind of weird to have to go and talk about him, which I don't blame her. You know, she is the farthest away from Kody.
Yes.
Of any of these people.
Yes, she is.
And
she is, but she wants that paycheck. So she's going to show up.
I also think she wants to support the show as long as she can because it is benefiting Janelle and everybody's children. And you know, so I think she'll stick it out a little longer. But Janelle is like, I never stress out over this. Like,
oh, yeah. No, she was cool as a cucumber. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, like, she was in North Carolina and she strapped on a backpack and left the house. I'm like, is she walking to Sedona? What's happening now? Like, what is it? Because she just walked out the door. I'm like, is anyone going to take her to the airport?
Yeah. How's she getting to the airport?
And then I was like, is this remote? Is she going to be here? It was a little odd. It really was.
Yeah. No, she's not really bothered.
No. And so Meri says that she's going to speak her truth. She's tired of like having to keep stories straight, which is interesting.
Yeah. You know, I felt like Meri really has, I feel like for so many years, she was so afraid to speak.
Mm-hmm.
She was so afraid to say the wrong thing. And then Kody would be mad at her. And this whole thing about, you know, you never understood what the heck was going on between the two of them.
Mm-hmm.
And it feels like now she's finally feels free enough to just, to speak her truth and to say, that's not what happened. This is what happened. This is what I remember, So, I mean, I think this was really Meri's season,
Mm-hmm. Oh,
she really changed a lot and grew a lot. And, thanks to Jen in large part, she's not afraid.
Yeah. So then we see this scene. Then we see Kody saying to Robyn, like, well, how can I protect you? Mr. Knight in Shining Armor, how do I protect you? And she's like, oh, you can't protect me. And then we see the house, and we see Kody meandering up to the front door and walking in and seeing Suki. And so the first question she asks is around what movie would describe your life. And they started with Janelle, right? And she said, oh, it's fried green tomatoes. Because I guess she sort of sees herself like the Kathy Bates character, like reinventing herself. I wasn't quite sure who Evelyn was. And then Suki brings up Eat, Pray, Love. Meri's is Wild, which I thought was interesting. Christine is Everything Everywhere All at Once. And then Suki makes a comment about it. Maybe it's Legally Blonde because she's wearing a pink suit. But the best were Kody's.
Of course.
Because the first one was, he couldn't remember the name of the movie. The Keanu Reeves, I'm like, oh, dear God, does he think he's John
don't
Wick?
Compare yourself to Keanu Reeves. That's sacrilegious.
No, Keanu is sacred.
He's a god among men.
So, but he's talking about that movie, and then they finally figured out it's Point Break. And I'm like, wasn't that a movie? I never saw it. I mean, it's our era, but I never watched it. Isn't it about like an undercover FBI agent and a criminal
trying to infiltrate bank robbers? Yeah.
And they surf by day and rob banks at night, or vice versa.
Right.
And I'm like trying to find that out. And then he says Batman or Batman Returns.
Yeah, because if you don't die the hero, you live eventually enough to become the villain. I guess that's a quote from Batman.
Yeah. And then he says, but I'm not. Suki asks him, well, do you see yourself as a villain? He's like, no, I've been villainized.
Of course.
I'm not a villain. And I'm like, oh, dear God, shut
Poor
up.
Kody.
Well, he did. This is the next thing he said. Well, he's like, well, I have a lot of iterations of the truth. There are 5 iterations of the truth, and then I pick one. And Suki's like, yeah, that's the problem. That is the problem, that you have all these iterations, these ideas of what is truth and what is real. And that's where he talks about, like, it's hard to be accountable when you're in a passionate moment. And it's like, no, you can be. We see your children often, being able to contain themselves or what, it's just, that's the part that just drives me crazy. It's just, there's zero accountability or anything. Like he's like we should all just deal with him in whatever mood he's in and whatever's going on. And if I say I don't love you on Tuesday, if I say I don't love you on Tuesday and I say I love you on Wednesday, and then I say I don't love you anymore, and then I say we made love after we had a divorce, then, that's just how why should that bother you? Why should that, it's a little bit like, why should that impact you? It's like, well, it does.
Yeah. Well, now he's backtracking on this whole, I never loved any of them. And he's saying, I love them. Was I in love with them? No. And he said he's just trying to hide what he and Robyn had while trying to promote anything else. I don't think that's right. But yeah, he can't. He does. Does he even know how he? I don't know. I don't know what to do with this.
And that's the problem. And that's what Janelle keeps speaking to, is his ego is so great that he can't for one moment take any level of accountability to look at himself and say, what role did I play in all this? What role did I play in this? Because if he could come back and say, you know what? Everybody was absolutely right. Absolutely right. I fell in love with Robyn and I couldn't. And I kept trying, and I pulled away from, like what I was saying earlier, and I pulled away from these other women, and it eroded my relationship with Christine and blah, blah, blah. But that's the thing is that the thing that he needs to say, which will, no longer make him this villain that he feels like he is the exact thing that he can't because his ego won't let him.
Mm-hmm.
So, anywho.
Yeah, this is the stuff that just makes my head spin when he just goes off on these rants of it's nonsensical, and he's saying he wanted to elevate all of the relationships to match Robyn. We said that earlier, and he's just making excuse after excuse and rationalizations, and none of this rings true. None of it is authentic.
Mm-hmm. Well, one of the things that he talked about, before that, did you catch this Robyn thing when she asks Robyn about loving all the wives, and Robyn goes, "I love that about him. It was like an aphrodisiac."
Yeah, no, that's a very sexual comment. Yeah. They're starting to make all these sexual comments in the last few episodes that they never would have said before.
Yeah. Well, they had to hide it, Brooke.
Yeah, they're free to be now.
But one of the things that he talked about, one of his reasonings for loving Robyn more, wanting to elevate all these other relationships, was Robyn was good at respecting herself. And it was like, no, Kody, you respected Robyn and you showed her respect. And respect, if there is not respect in your marriage is in trouble. That is one of the four horsemen, John Gottman. If you don't know who he is, he's a very prolific writer and an expert on marriage. And this is what he talks about: contempt, respect. Like, there are these core things that if they do not exist in a relationship, the relationship will never work. And that's really what you're telling us. You're telling us that you are telling us in lots of different ways, yeah, I actively was part of not making this relationship work because I did not respect these women.
And why? He never explains why he didn't respect them. Like, what was Robyn doing that was so different that made him respect her?
Well, yeah, I go back to my theory, which is I think part of it was the newness and part of it was her youth and beauty. I think that was it. But the other part, I think another big part of it was the fact that she gives him, she feeds the ego. She feeds the ego. She feeds it and feeds it and feeds it and feeds it until he's kind of dizzy. And then she sends him on his way to get what she wants. And then she feeds the ego, feeds it. Like, that's why.
And it was easy for her to do that because she hadn't been, living with this guy for 20 years like all the other ones had. And they had been struggling and lived in poverty and, been separated. Janelle and, left Kody a couple times, Yeah, it's real easy to be all fun and flirty when you don't have any of that baggage.
Oh, yeah.
Any of that history. I mean, yeah. And then this is where he goes off in a rage talking about how, it was the divine aspect about his relationship with Robyn. We're being bitch slapped for it. I'm sick of it, walking around flipping two birds because I'm so sick and tired of being guilty for loving Robyn.
Damn it.
God, give me my Oscar.
Oh my God.
Okay, Kody. How long did you practice that? Yeah, he's being persecuted.
Yes. Just I feel like we're back to season, was that 18, 17? When was he driving around in his truck really angry all the time? Was that 18?
I don't know. But we're back for years. Yeah. I mean,
but that's him. I'm being persecuted. I'm a victim. Blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
Listen, you hold a narcissist accountable, they will see it as an attack. End of story. Yeah. So if you have, if there's someone in your life that you try to hold accountable and they attack you, that person might have some narcissistic traits. So then we get into this whole thing about the respect, and Janelle says, Janelle was like, I always had respect for myself. Did Kody have respect for himself? And then Christine gets into this whole thing about she was like, I was very fixated on Kody. Everything was about Kody. And I always had to change what was going on that day to accommodate him. And I think that's very much what we were talking about, is that I think Kody wanted someone that was going to accommodate those things. I think part of the problem was that once he fell in love with Robyn, Christine is sitting here trying to, accommodate, and that seemed to work in the past, right? And it's not working anymore. And Kody goes into this whole thing about how, well, he has the most respect for Meri. It's in line of the marriages.
Yeah, the hierarchy.
Yeah, he has the most respect for Meri, and then he has
of the exes.
Of the exes, he has the most respect for Meri, and then more than he has for Janelle, but he has more respect for Meri and Janelle than he does for Christine. I mean, it's just like, oh my God.
Oh, I know. I mean, he must have just treated her so horribly. And she says that, she's embarrassed that she lived that way, that she put up with that she never knew if he was coming, when he was coming. If he showed up, she had to change everything to accommodate him, change all their plans. And so, I mean, isn't that complete disrespect? Again, projection. You're accusing someone of doing the very thing that you're doing.
Yeah. Well, he's like, well, Christine would cook me a meal, but she wasn't interested in my happiness because she was always telling me about how unhappy she was. And that's it. She wasn't interested in my happiness. That's really what we're talking about. She was not interested as much as Robyn was in your happiness. And that bothers you. Because she kept reminding me she was unhappy.
Well, yeah, because she was happy until Robyn came along, because he was, I guess, being more equal with his time and more concerned about what she was doing. As soon as Robyn came along, he didn't have time for anybody but her, because she, what were his things? She was good at, there was like 3 things.
Oh, the qualities of their relationship, which is communication, negotiation, and what was the third one? Was it respect?
I don't know.
Communication, negotiation, and something else.
Yeah. I mean, it's just manipulation and the fact that she's just a new shiny object. That's what I would call it.
Yeah. And then we go back. We do hear from Meri where she talks about I respect myself now, but there was a time where I didn't. And during that dark time, 8 to 10 years ago. So this is when Kody makes that big announcement, like, no one is being accountable, because Christine didn't have self-respect. Is Robyn the guilty party for making me fall in love with her?
Making me fall in love with her. Okay.
And Christine says, no, you know what? At the end of the day, he did not try and he did not invest in our relationship. He was not available. He was not he was not present. He was not accommodating. All the attention was on her. Psych Legal Pop. We'll be back after these messages.
This message comes from Jackson. Taxes aren't something you can only think about once a year. With investments, planning for tax day is year-round. Fortunately, Jackson offers tax-efficient products. Visit jackson.com for more information on how our products can make your tax bill a little bit less painful. Jackson is short for Jackson Financial Incorporated, Jackson National Life Insurance Company, Lansing, Michigan, and Jackson National Life Insurance Company of New York, Purchase, New York.
Chicago, 2011. A cop is murdered. Police and prosecutors swear they have the trigger man. He swears he didn't do it. How far will each side go to prove they're right?
Like it's just one bombshell after another, where you're like, what?
The story of a PlayStation, a brain-eating amoeba, and the relentless pursuit of justice. Off Duty, out now. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
Yeah, and they're all like, this is bullshit. Janelle's like, this is revisionist history, and Meri's like, what? Like, we were all supposed to be just like Robyn, and Kody just, what Meri said, what he did to her was cruel. And then they go into talking about the release and the abandonment and the legal divorce, like that whole thing. They just rehashed. There's nothing really new there, just rehashing this. And, no one understands why Kody was so upset by this, because he says he doesn't even believe in the church. He's not a member of the church. So why do you care about this release? Why does it bother you so much?
Yeah. Yeah. No, that whole thing. There was like a clip package, and one thing I thought Christine said that she never knew if Meri was going to be easy or hard, but she's changed a lot, and she doesn't want to take that from her. And then Kody goes back to this whole thing about something changed with Meri after the legal divorce, but I can't tell you everything because we're friends now.
So he knows what it is, he's saying.
I don't know. That's the part that it's so much gobbledygook, because on the one hand, he's saying, no, everything was the same. And again, I think this is part of his problem that he does not understand, which is this. He was like, well, when I got that legal divorce from Meri, it was just all the same. We were right back to where we were. We were just, nothing changed, nothing at all. We went to Hugo's, wherever they went, for
and
that.
And then they made love.
And then they made love in Hugo's parking lot. And, and then, right. What was I saying? But the problem is this, is that it was going to change things. And the more that you held on to trying to make it the same and trying not to change anything for fear, it made it worse. Do you know what I mean? It's that whole thing. It's like, people are so fearful of talking about, we talked about this before. People are so fearful of asking people like, do you feel safe? Do you feel this? Are you thinking about harming yourself? Because people think that they're going to start to think that. And it's like, no, that's not how it works. If you own some of this stuff and talk about it and admit that maybe things are different, maybe it would be different. Anyway.
Yeah. And there's a lot of talk about this whole abandonment and divorce and all that. And Robyn, she won't answer whether or not Kody abandoned Meri. Robyn throughout this whole thing is just not playing.
It's like, why are you there?
Yeah, exactly. And at one point later, Suki asks her, why won't you watch these clips at all? Because apparently Robyn won't even watch the clips. She's made some deal with them that I don't want to watch the clips. Well, first of all, how can you respond to it if you don't watch it? And then she goes into this whole thing about how it's too upsetting, it's too toxic, it's too this and it's too that. And it's like, what a fucking baby. Like, you can't handle this. You don't want to like talk about it. You don't have anything to say about it. Everything she says is negative. She has nothing to add.
No, her presence there was utterly
it was unnecessary.
Pointless. And if I was Janelle, Meri, or Christine, I would be livid, because don't forget, this is reality TV. They're all working in the salt mines together.
They're all
here,
bearing their souls.
They're all doing all this stuff, and you're not willing to at all talk about any of this stuff. You're not willing to talk about it. You're not willing to own any of it. You're not even, you won't side with Kody. You won't side with Meri. You won't do this. So that to me means you have no opinions. Like, I kind of feel like she should have said something like, well, it seems like you don't even have an opinion.
Right. She should have said that. And we know Robyn has strong opinions. She just wants to be a jerk about it. She's just, she's like a baby. She's like, her and Kody are both babies. He's the acting out baby, and she's the baby who just pouts in the corner.
Yeah.
But they're both babies.
Yes.
Truly. I mean, they're pathetic, and they come off as the two of them come off as so pathetic. And especially when you look at them next to Janelle and Meri and Christine, who have all really changed, evolved, are working on themselves. Those two look like complete idiots.
Well, Robyn did wear a solid top, though. She did not wear a floral. So that is growth. That is a change.
has changed.
I was no floral shirt. I was all disappointed. I'm like, oh, no floral shirt.
Yeah, I forgot to look at her eyebrows. I mean, they didn't stand out to me. So maybe they're getting better. Maybe they're not as obnoxious. Because when they're real bad, you notice it.
Yeah. Oh,
so, I don't know. I guess she's focusing on that. But then, why did you show up?
And then Meri goes into this whole thing about Kody and if he had a plan for the legal divorce and was there something else going on. And again, this is where Kody gets into this whole thing of like, nothing changed, nothing changed in our marriage. But then suddenly something happened and I was kicked out of the house and we had this incident and she's convinced that it'll never happen. That never happened. But I can't talk about these things because we're friends now. And I mean, I have no idea what he's talking about.
I don't know what they're talking about.
We're back to this debate that I think we've heard them debate this, which is Kody claims that Meri kicked him out of the house and Meri claims that she said, I just need a bit of a break. Now, I would believe that Kody hears, hey, Kody, I need a break. Like, get out of the house.
Yeah.
I do believe both of those things are true. The problem is that one of these people doesn't know how to interpret feelings.
But then he also claims, and we haven't heard this before, that, he's laying in Meri's bed and she's not sleeping in the bed with him. She's in the other room on the phone giggling with someone, which I guess
is she alluding that the catfishing?
I mean, what else? I don't know. Or maybe he could be talking about her friends because he mentioned how she always has this group of friends where she goes from friend to friend to friend talking shit about him.
Yes.
And complaining about him. So it could have been that. I couldn't really tell. I don't really believe much of what Kody says. So whatever. Yeah. But I think it's more like what you just said that, she said, I need a break from you for whatever reason, whatever she was going through. And he interpreted that as she kicked him out of the house and F you forever.
This is my favorite part where he's like, we'll never agree on why we broke up. And I don't care. I'm like, you don't care.
You don't care at all. That's why you're so livid. Okay.
I mean, God, dude, you're not even complex. You're not even complex. You're not even like someone where there's multiple layers. You're an onion with one fucking layer.
Yeah. And it's
so basic.
When they're talking about all this stuff, Janelle pipes in and she says, Kody's not really sophisticated enough to come up with that kind of manipulation.
See, I think Janelle makes him the craziest because Janelle gives no fucks.
She's just really indifferent.
Oh, she is so indifferent. The most passionate we heard was she was talking about Javier Bardem and Eat, Pray, Love. I mean, that was the most I think we've heard anything from her. So, and then we hear from Christine talking about the stories that Robyn would drop. I totally believe this. Totally believe this.
I don't know if you caught this, but I thought this was fascinating. Yeah, when they're talking about how, Robyn was planting these seeds of, I've heard of people who divorced the first wife so they can adopt the kids. And she claims she doesn't remember saying that. But then I think it was Janelle who said this. It was Janelle. One of them said this. They said, well, that's what Wynn did.
Oh, yes.
So Wynn divorced his first wife, which would have been Janelle,
Grandma Janelle.
To adopt the children of the second wife. Because it's not Cheryl. Her kids were grown. So Bonnie, who was this, I think that's her name, who was the second wife. So if that's true, if Wynn divorced Janelle to adopt Bobby's children, that's going to create a lot of daddy issues with Kody.
Oh, interesting. This is the first time I've ever heard this news.
Yeah.
But that is interesting. So you think that because he worships his father, it seems like he worships his father, but is also secretly angry with him.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. I think he wanted he wanted attention. Kody wants attention. He always has. He wanted attention. I don't know if Kody was necessarily got the attention or was the type of, because when you look at his older brothers, I think, they're a little more the real cowboys.
Yeah.
Kody was sort of a pseudo cowboy. He was kind of goofy. He was the showboat guy. He was, I think his father probably thought he was like silly to a certain degree. But just that right there, I don't know, psychologically, I just think that's a lot. This is the first time we've heard this. So that makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense. And especially in this, this community and, how important the hierarchy of wives and all this kind of stuff is. And then you go and you sort of go out of order and you do something out of order to shake it up.
Interesting.
I don't know. I can't remember which wife said that. It was either...
I feel like it was
Janelle or Christine.
Oh.
Or maybe it was Robyn. No, because Robyn was the one who she was suggesting this, and then she claims she doesn't remember ever saying it.
Oh, Robyn should be testifying at the Karen Reed trial. She does not remember.
No.
She does not remember. She butt dialed. It was a butt dial.
Yeah, don't remember.
Cannot remember that at all. And so this is one thing that Kody did admit, because he was like, he doesn't understand why Meri's mad at him. He's like, she really should be mad at me for how long it took me to tell her I wanted out. I'm like, that was the most truthful thing I think I've heard you say. Yeah. Yeah. And then we get a little bit at the end, we get into Janelle and watching that clip package.
At Josephine's.
At Josephine's. And this is the other part of it too. It's like you're looking at Kody going, God, this must be painful to have to watch this. And he's just watching it. That's the part about this stuff is like, you don't even see how sad that is. I don't know.
Yeah. And he brings up how he had a renaissance in Las Vegas.
Yes, with Janelle. A renaissance.
Because they weren't good for 10 years before that. I mean, he's always got in response to these things, he's always got to dredge up something against her. And, and she talks about she brings up how Robyn's a sacred cow, and she's talking about ego and failure and words that Kody does not like.
No, she's always using the word failure and ego and,
and the next scene, I realized that it was funny, the chyrons that they were putting under people's names. Like under Robyn, they just put Kody's wife.
Yeah, I noticed that they started doing that this season with Robyn and Kody.
And then under Christine's, they had Christine, ex-polygamist.
Yeah.
Yeah. And this is the whole thing. Yeah. Robyn won't watch the clips. It's too disturbing, too hard, destructive, toxic.
Okay. Yes. We're all failures. We're all failures.
Don't show up. Then don't come.
Then I'm sorry. Then don't do the show.
Right.
Don't do the show. Guess what, Robyn? You
won't have to hear any of this.
No one put a gun to your head to do the show. But if that's the thing. It's like you showed up to the burger place and you're unwilling to flip some fucking burgers. And that's a problem. And I'm sorry. If I was working at that place too, I would be pissed. One of the other things that Kody talked about was he was saying something, he's like, about failures and the marriages ending. Did he allude to not wanting to give up on the marriages because he wanted to preserve things for his kids? So now he brings in this whole thing about I was staying for my kids, which is interesting, especially since we're 6 months after Garrison. I mean, this is your attitude right now? I mean, why would...
Yeah. He's forgotten how, he abandoned all of them during COVID and said that Gabe and Garrison should just be kicked out of the house. And he's desperate. He's desperate to try to rehab his image. And I don't know why he thought being so angry and condescending would be the way to do it. But Yeah, it was a lot. And so we get a bunch of little quick clips from, next week. Christine brings up how in this culture, if 3 wives leave, that's a problem with the man.
Yeah. And it is.
Yeah, yes, exactly. And Janelle says, Kody has made himself more villainous to take away the blame from Robyn.
Mm-hmm.
Meri said, they talk about Kody's reaction, in the moving, when he moved Meri up to Parowan. And Christine says, you really wonder what ended this era? It was you. You picked favorites. I just love these. Like they were just one after another. Just
boom, boom, boom,
boom. Yes. And Janelle says he's attacked them in areas that hurt them the most, like saying that Janelle was in charge of the money and then somehow blaming her for the money.
Yeah.
And Kody says that, they weren't supposed to be talking about sex and money. And now everyone wants to talk about sex and money. Janelle talks about how important looks are to Kody. And Robyn says that camping thing is not true.
It is true because we saw it on screen.
We saw it. Yeah. We saw you putting on your makeup.
I mean, how it all landed and what happened, we don't really know. But we did see that you were putting on makeup for a long time.
Yeah.
Camping. So FYI.
Yeah. And then Christine says, that they had this love story from the beginning. They were just trying to hide it, but I don't think they were hiding it very well. And this was the best. This is where we close out, I think. Oh, no, there's one more after this. Okay, so Janelle says, Robyn and Kody had a very long courtship. If I had a year with Kody, I'm not sure I would have married him.
Like, go, Janelle.
So true.
And it is very true. I mean, this is the part of it is, right? We've talked about this. These marriages would never work. You didn't know each other long enough. You were too damn young. I mean, all of these things that we're talking about that don't make it work.
Right. And then you throw in the plural marriage aspect of it and there's just like no chance.
And tons of kids and, poverty and right. So many of these other things. And we do see Meri talking about the way Kody said goodbye to her and crying. And again, that's another really good example of like, Kody has all these feelings. So I'm going to dump them all on you, Meri, and you take them.
Right.
You take my feelings and my mess. And you then sort it out and figure it out. No. That's not right, Meri. You're not right. Nope. No, that's not right. I'm going to dump more stuff on you. Nope. No, that's not right. Like it's no wonder they felt so gaslit half the time because it was always like this false vulnerability. And then, no, you're not doing it right.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. And then we end with Kody saying, Robyn keeps reminding me you have kids together and you are always going to be connected forever. And he says, well, God help us.
Yeah, that was weird. I mean, especially after losing your child. Why do you not get this? Why do you not get this?
Yeah. And why, like, what are you just going to be? Look, lots of people go through divorces. I mean, I know it's a kind of a lot to have 3, like in 1 year or whatever it was. But I mean, these weren't real marriages. You know what I mean? Like he didn't have a real marriage with Meri anymore in the sense that they weren't a partnership, or Christine or Janelle for that matter.
Yeah.
They were over a long time ago. So God, a lot of people get divorced, especially if you have kids. You have to move on. You have to like work things out. And Kody's just being like, no. Even when Robyn makes a good point, to her credit, that these women are going to be in your life in some way, shape, or form for the rest of your life because you have children together. And he's just kind of like, no.
Yeah.
I don't do that.
And this is 6 months after you lose your child.
I know.
That's the other part of it that's so perplexing. It's like, wait a second. Maybe before Garrison, but now you have not learned you've learned nothing from this? You've learned nothing from this. Absolutely zip, zero, nothing.
Wow. I don't know. How many more episodes do we have?
There's two more. There's 2 more parts. Oh, dear God. And you know what? I think once we finish these 2, I need a break from Kody for a while. I don't think I can go back to the rewind. I don't know if I can. I mean, maybe I could handle younger Kody, but Kody of today is too much.
No. Well, where we left off was
the divorce,
around the legal divorce. And we started to get into the catfishing.
Not really, but it was really the aftermath of the legal divorce and then adopting the kids. That's where we left off in the rewind. Maybe I can handle Kody there. I don't know. After this, 45 minutes was intense with him. It was exhausting.
It was a lot. I hope that the next ones are a little more positive.
No.
Not if he's on them.
No. Next week they're talking about how he's a failure, and the list goes on and on and on. On and on.
Wow.
Oof. Well, all right. Okay. Well,
2 more weeks of this, and then
we'll regroup. Thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in. If you like us and like this podcast, please go to Apple and give us a 5-star rating and review. Those reviews really do help us and help people find the show. You can follow us on social media. You can share the show with a friend or 2.
Subscribe.
You can subscribe, yes, and go back. We have a very, very rich download. We have almost 300 episodes. So if you're new here, please go back and discover some of our old episodes, because we've covered a lot in the last almost 3 years. If you want more of us, if you're like, God, I need more of those 2. This isn't enough content for me. Like Kody and Robyn. You're our Robyn to the Kody. I don't want to be Kody.
Well, I don't understand this, but I don't want to be associated with either one.
I'm saying that the love is so strong that they're going to want to come to Patreon come to our Patreon. We have 2 tiers. You can get all the shows ad free, and we have lots of other things there. So go check it out. And thank you so much for tuning in. We really appreciate you, and we'll talk to you next time.
Thank you. Bye.
Hi, this is Hannah Burner from Giggly Squad. Have you ever put on a bra that makes you feel like a goddess? Prepare to be obsessed with the Dream Angels Wicked Bra from Victoria's Secret, the iconic brand behind the world's most comfortable bras. And I only wear the most comfortable bras. The bestseller features an innovative sling for perfect lift without padding, and the fit is chef's kiss. Awaken your inner goddess with new colors and super femme lace embroidery. Find out why this bra has thousands of 5-star reviews and counting. Shop it in stores and online at victoriasecret.com.
Howdy, howdy, ho, and welcome to Fantasy Fan Fellas. I'm Hayden, producer of the Fantasy Fangirls podcast and your resident lover of all things Sanderson.
And I'm Steven, your bookish internet goofball, but you can call me the Smash Daddy.
And we are currently deep diving Brandon Sanderson's fantasy epic, Mistborn. But here's the catch. Steven here has not read Mistborn before.
That's right, hey. So each week, you'll get my unfiltered, raw reactions to every single chapter.
And along the way, we'll do character deep dives, magic explainers, and Steven will even try to guess what's next. Spoiler alert, he'll be wrong.
Newsflash, I'm never wrong. Episodes come out every Wednesday, and you can find Fantasy Fan Fellas wherever you get your podcasts.
That new thing? Yeah, we've got it. The Drop by GNC, bringing you all the newness that matters, handpicked by the pros who actually know what's up and what's proven to work. We keep you on top of the trends and dialed into what's next. Whether you're crushing it at the gym, leveling up your game, or thriving every day, The Drop by GNC is where the latest solutions in health and wellness land first. Non-stop innovation and fresh finds daily. Explore what's new and what's next on The Drop by GNC.